Paul Venis, many are aware of you because you're going to be playing Lee Duffy next year for the Says film. You've got lots of things in the pipeline. Hopefully, you're going to become an actor. But there's a lot of stories that people don't know about you, Paul, with your life. People know you were a world class athlete, British, European. What else was it? Oh, you showed me all your belts there.
Wales as well.
Yeah, unbeaten. But how bad, for people who don't know, right, and you're getting a bit of a following now, but how bad was your life in them early years?
Yeah, it was bad. You know what was when I want to say early is like as a child going to school when I was young and being picked on the way I did. I was overweight, was ginger, two different coloured eyes. And the way I got picked on, like to the point where not wanting to go to school, crying on the morning, crying on the night. My dad was sick of going into school and. Not mentioning it to teachers and wanting to take the law into his own hands, obviously, as you would for your own kids. And I remember him getting that mad one night, that mad one morning, seeing me upset. I remember him grabbing a screwdriver and putting me back and going, right, fucking stab him, fucking kill him. And I'm telling you, son. And then changed his mind dead quick and went, oh, no, and took it out. And my mum was like, can't do that. And then he's took it out. But my dad was an emotional guy, seeing his boy going through that, and thinking, like, his hands were tied, what could he do? Do you know what I mean? We were only, kids can be nasty, do you know what I'm saying? So I think that could have been a lot of trauma in my life to playing out to how I knew I was going to end up. Well, not knew I was going to end up, but how I ended up. It was like within 2 or 3 years the tables had turned. Me going into secondary school and realising, you know what I'm capable of when I do fight back. And it come natural to me to be able to have someone say something that you don't like to next thing
how bad was the bullying? Because obviously people know Lee Duffy was really bullied, and you were actually beat up by men a few times, weren't you?
Yeah. Like the most traumatizing thing was when I was young was it used to be all Selkirk Market, and you used to get the catapults for like a pound or something like that. And being up the lines and playing with them, and there was like the path was like full of stones, firing stones over the bridge, and obviously some of them weren't coming down. And on this bridge was the cars coming back and forth on the truck road, and within 5 minutes of being there doing this, a big man was climbing down the side of the bridge, obviously coming to see us, but we didn't know. Do you know what I mean? Well, I didn't know anyway, but my two pals had realised. I was only a kid, 10, 11-year-old, something along them lines. And he's absolutely kicked the fucking shit out of me. My two pals had run off in fear, and obviously I didn't realise, and he kicked the living shit out of me to the point where, I'd lost control of my bowels, and, I was bleeding from my ears, and he'd smashed my face in, and, and then to be able to get up and still run away, and him chasing me all the way down the path with his fingers on my back, literally, for about a mile. And like, anyone who knows this path is covered by bushes. Once I'd come out at the end of this path, there's no bushes no more, you're in the open. That's when he stopped chasing me. Do you know what I'm saying? And I
he'd have been locked up for that, wouldn't he?
Oh, man. And I still believe to this day that man would have killed me. He would have killed me, do you know what I mean? And I'd have to go home and lie to my dad for a few weeks then, because I didn't have to. But like, as a kid, you become delusional, don't you? Thinking, oh, my dad might go mad if I was up that far up that path, because I wasn't allowed, or I fired it at a car and stuff like that. So it played on me for a few weeks, and I told my dad that I'd fell off a skip or a wall or something like that, do you know what I mean? And then went to hospital, and my head I was beat up to a pulp, do you know what I mean? And I remember this is how young I was when I told my dad. He was washing my hair with a jug in a bath. Put your head back, son. And he was covering my eyes, washing my hair. That's how old I was when I told him. So I think that played a massive part, it was like having nightmares for years over it and that, do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And obviously, you'd got to an age where you could start and look after yourself. Was that when everything changed and then kind of...
Oh, yeah, overnight, like instantly, like...
12, 13, 14, what?
Do you know what it was? It was first year senior, when I went to secondary school. I think someone had said something and I just clouted him, and... do you know what? My dad, I remember Dad actually trying to take me to boxing, I was quite shy. I suffered with, you know, when kids tell you something and they pick on you over something, you can believe that. You know, and it fills you with this feeling where you're not worthy, you're not good enough. This what you see in the mirror you don't like. I got filled with this. I remember my dad taking me to boxing for a few weeks, you know, and it wasn't really for me, but it gave me something, you know. And I remember in first year senior, I just clouted someone for trying to pick on us, and I fucking took him off his feet. And something had changed overnight in my head where I thought, nah, I'm not having this. And just instantly, I just went on a wrecking ball from through secondary school. Do you know what I mean?
When you left school, I mean, what were you out? You know, like people are. I mean, you've been sober now from everything for over 7 years, eh?
Yeah. Around about 6, 7 years.
So you're 34 now, so you were 27. So you for 10 years really, you just went crazy, drugs, alcohol.
Do you know what it was? It was like 15, 16. It started off with a bit of weed, but I was a good footballer. I was really good at football, considering my size and my weight. I was always the best on the pitch, no matter what team I played for. What I believed, and for some reason, I never really fell into that drug well straight away because I was focusing on football. I played football 6 days of the week. Do you know what I mean? And I played for decent clubs and stuff. And I think it was more when I turned like 18, 19, and you start going out drinking and you start doing all that. And I just instantly, overnight, just became addicted to cocaine. Like instantly, like if I had a line, if I got on it, I wasn't just staying awake for a day or two. I was staying awake for weeks. You know, and it just led me down a dark path of addiction, because then it was only a matter of time before I started other things, crack, tablets, fucking hell, you name it, you put it in front of me and I took, you know what I mean? And it come to a stage where it wasn't just 3 or 4 days in the week, it was an everyday thing. While I was on drugs every day, I constantly needed to change the way I felt, you know, so.
Do you know one story you told me? You said you went on holiday and you were even like hiding tablets and like hair wax away from your missus.
Yeah, what I used to do is the old big blue tins of wax.
Yeah.
I was that good at cutting the plastic off, opening them. I used to put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
I would leave the wax in the freezer overnight. Then when I take it out, I would cut a square in it, half this square.
Yeah.
Fucking tape all my drugs up, dead tight, stuff them in, cut the square in half, melt it all back off smooth, and I'd even glue the tin back up.
Did
you
you?
know the plastic?
Yeah.
I would glue all that back on as well, put it back in my suitcase.
Yeah.
And then what I would have to do is in the hotel rooms and on holiday, I would have to hide all the drugs about in the hotel. You know, like in my room. So if I was going to the toilet, I could take the drugs.
Yeah.
If she was in the front room, I'd be taking them. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you put out your missus. You know, met her there, lovely, and she's really stuck by you when people had just went, "Here, you fuck right off," wouldn't she?
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier on, like I got clean and I got sober and you know I found God, like for my well-being. You know, like I could only me could have done that. I didn't do it for anyone else. But I dare say, if Sammy hadn't have stuck by me the way she did, it wouldn't have been as easy as it was. I don't know. I'd probably end up dead or something.
Yeah.
Or fucking doing life in jail.
So next couple of months, you're going to be on Sean Atwood. You'll be on Jimmy O's. I'll start James English about you. We're going to really work hard, knock our pants out, and see where this takes us. Listen, you've got the part in the Sayers film next year. You're going to, 2 books in you, Paul. So but basically, after the Sayers film, that's when you're going to do your life story, which is 2 years away. I believe the film starts next year. It'll be out the year after, so we're looking at 2022. But what we are going to do is a South Bank story. What's that going to be about?
That's going to be mainly about Lee Duffy, but about the stories that I've heard growing up, and how what I heard about Lee as a child, and becoming obsessed about him, and being a South Bank lad, and hearing about this guy Lee Duffy, and hearing stories and listening to the elders talk about him, you sort of become in awe of the stories, and it sort of modelled my life about, by the time I was 14, 15, realising what I was capable of, and hearing the Lee's stories of him being bullied and turning out to be this man and no one would ever pick on him again. It was like, it was me, like, that's what I wanted to be, do you know what I mean? And I thought, right, fuck it, that's what I want to be, do you know what I mean? I want to be the next Lee Duffy. It wasn't like I want to be the next fucking Tom Hardy or Maradona, or it was in this area, it was, for me, it was, I want to be the next Lee Duffy, you know. And I think this book is not going to be about me as so much, it's going to be about how, like, what stories I knew.
You literally know everyone in South Bank, all the the Jimmy the Bags, the your father-in-law John Bailey, who drove him to Newcastle with Graham's in the documentary. So all these people, the Tappins and kind of. So I think the best way to describe the book is going to be, you're going to be narrating it, but it's going to be the voice of South Bank, the community.
Yeah, well, I know, like, nine times out of 10, if anyone was close with Lee and they're still alive now, then I'm pretty close with them myself. Do you know what I mean? The South Bank. There's one thing about South Bank. It's a close knit community. Do you know what I mean? We all, especially when it's involved with Lee, we all want to be heard and we all want to be known of, like, we knew Lee and this is the stories of him. Do you know what I mean? And some of the stories that I've heard about Lee, are phenomenal. And as much as he is good, he is bad about him. But I'll always be up on the good because of what he's done for the South Bank people, and that's why I'm excited to get involved with this,
You said to me, I mean, yes, there's people, we know people who've still got the bruises mentally and physically, but it's mythology with the South Bank. He's literally like a Robin Hood in this area, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just like everyone knows who he was.
Well, my dad always said, like, a couple of weeks ago, he says, you know what, son? He said, as bad as people say he was, and I can't doubt it, because he said, but he would always say to the South Bank lads, sweet as a nut, South Bank lads, sweet as a nut, good lads. He'd always have his eye out for us. He'd always look after us. There wasn't, he'd never, ever, especially the doorman as well as South Bank. He heard what he was doing. Dad was on the doors. He'd never done nothing wrong with my dad. Never.
Your mum was quite close to him as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, my mum was close with him. Funny enough, the respect that he had for my mum was, was brilliant. And I grew up listening to that respect he had for my mum. You know what I mean? So it was like, wow. I opened my feeling for him and my feeling to want to get to know his stories even more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you feature in the Lee Duffy Too Far Too Soon documentary. We're going to be filming another little bit again this Sunday, which it will become apparent when you're going to be kind of plainly when, I know the camera might look at you as you're just in a pair of shorts and trainers, but we're going to haze it out a bit so you can just see this big figure with a pair of shorts, probably sat in his car with his arms folded. But that we've got Paul Suggar's Fat Cat Productions, Dan Walker, done tremendous, outstanding professional work in that.
Yeah.
They're going to be making a show reel for you. I've just had a chat with you there. I said, listen, Paul, if you can't take the criticism, it's not for you, mate. And you've said to me there, listen, we're going to go full on. You're going to be, next couple of months, get really out there and, so basically we're going to see how far you can go.
Yeah.
Acting, work, authors, books, documentaries, films. Also, I think, about the schools, the youth clubs, you've had a life, and people, Mark Fitzgerald messaged me 3 years ago, lovely guy, and he went, tell you what, Jay, he said, I tell you what, one book you want to do is Paul Venis, and I was like, I'm too busy with shit, mate. And I found that message a couple of years back, I think I sent you, and it's like, your message though, like, you've come off all the drugs and you probably sorted yourself out about 27 years old when Lee, just literally died. And you can have like a powerful, thought-provoking message of like, do you know what? And you just said to me there, I'm not ashamed. I'm ashamed of the bad things. I mean, for people who listen, you've got to be honest, Paul. You did do a lot of bad things, didn't you?
Yeah, Brad. Do you know what it is? Is you asked me, do I regret them? And it's like, there's no regret there. There's shame. There's guilt. Don't get me wrong, but there's no regret, because it's like, my answer to that is like, imagine I didn't go through it then. Imagine I was going through it now. I've got to be grateful for what I've been through and come out on the other side, because it's made me who I am today. It's like, I know I'm a good man today and my heart's in the right place and I've got time for anyone. You know, I'd love to go around. I've got a list as long as my arm who I need forgiveness from and I'd love to make amends to. But to be truthful, you know, it's made me who I am today. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's like if I hadn't been through that then, I could be going through it now. Or I might go through it in 5 years' time. So I'm just grateful now because I know what I am because of my past. I'm an addict. You know, that addiction, that active addiction that I lived 10 years ago can send me in a dark spiral where I could go to prison. You know, I could kill someone or I could end my own life. All that's there, do you know what I mean? But that's in the past and I don't regret it because I'm here now with God, recovering from addiction, like in recovery from it. I'll never recover, but I'm in recovery and I'm alive, you know, so that's why I can't regret it, you know.
Yeah, and 2021, watch your space.
Yeah, awfully. You know, you know what, Jamie, I says to you, you know, it's such a pleasure to be playing this movie role of Lee, and it's so exciting, and I'm absolutely buzzing to be playing it, and I'm excited about the journey it could take me on. But I just says to you, you know, it might take off, and I might end up in Fast and Furious 20, or in another few different parts. But you know what? It doesn't matter if I don't, because if I don't, I still get to tell the grandkids I played Lee Duffy in a film.
And also, what we're going to be going up with now is basically kind of maybe heading towards like schools, youth clubs, prisons. You were literally... I said something the other day, and I think someone got annoyed where I described you as pathetic. Now, if you look in the English dictionary and you describe what pathetic if you look what it actually means, it doesn't mean like, oh, he's like pathetic as we know it. There's a word, when you look at it properly, and you were because you were a drug-ravaged, you know, dishonest, kind of, and you know, you said to me, it's a big thing for your mum and dad to sobriety. And you've managed to do it. It's something that you never thought, and you know, you give up drinks, but then you go on drugs, and you were always looking for something else. Where now, do you know what? That message with you in the schools and the youth clubs and the prisons, I think, could be imperative. And you know,
yeah, well, it says, look, I mentioned it about recovery, about 12-step program and NA and stuff. You'll never see it promoted anyway. You'll never see it on a billboard. You'll never see it posters, or you'll never see anything like that. Don't get me wrong, if you search it on Google, it'll come up, it'll tell you where the places are. But the only way you hear about Narcotics Anonymous or air is by attraction in a human, by someone who's worked it. And it's saying that you only keep what you have by giving it away. So it's like, I keep what I have by giving it away. You know, I could gladly go in a school or a youth club or with troubled kids or people who are leading a life that could be heading down the path that I went to. You know, I can go give that up. I'll go and tell my story and tell them exactly how it worked for me. It's called, I could give them the experience and the strength and then the hope in my story. Hopefully that's what I could give these people who, you know, who need my story freely.
Because let's you know, for people who don't know, you were this drug addict, seriously troubled guy, but then you walked away from that life. I mean, your house was shot up and you had a lengthy prison sentence, and then you put it all behind you and become a world-class athlete.
Yeah.
And you found God, and now this clean living. Listen, do you know something? I'm going to tell you a statistic which is true. In December last year to February this year, there was 28 people, people who I know, God rest him, Sambo Booth, took his own life. You know, Middlesbrough had a lot of suicides, and that was, I think that's down to people battering the coke.
It's drugs. 9 times out of 10.
Do you see people, your mates, all depressed and that, and you think that was me?
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Since I've been clean, and since I've gone through from drugs, you sort of develop this radar and spot addiction. You spot addiction in someone where a normal person wouldn't. You know, it's like you spot them in the actions, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, and you think, yeah, he's got problems. He's an addict, and you can spot it. Do you know what I mean? But it's hard to tell someone that they're an addict if they don't know. You know, so it's like, because denial is a powerful thing. You know, a denial can confuse you, can convince you that, you know, you're not denial. You're being true. I'm just I just like a few lines. Once I start, I can't stop, but I'm okay because I can take it or leave it for a few weeks. Let's get one thing straight: in addiction, there's no fannying about. Because I used to come off it for a few weeks, I'd stay off it for 3 or 4 weeks, and I'd go back to the gym and I'd get myself big and I'd go see I'm all right. That's denial, because I would end up back on it for weeks or months. It's that few weeks where you come off it and you think, I'm all right, see, I can stay off, I can take it or leave it. That's not what it's about. An addict is someone who wants to start, they can't stop. One too many, 1,000 will never be enough. That is an addict. See, I always thought an addict was someone who's walking around on heroin every day, someone who's taking crack every day. It's not an addict. An addict is someone who becomes powerless over their addiction, someone who wants to start, they can't fucking stop. You know, someone who thinks about changing the way they feel every single day. And that's what an addict does. You know, I've done everything in my life as to addiction. Example for the fighting that you mentioned, Jamie. You know, once I put drugs down and walked into a fighting gym, bang, instantly hooked. I'd done it to an obsession. I was first one in the gym and I was the last one out. You know, and that's why in a short period of time, I accomplished what I accomplished. I was fighting lads who were probably a better fighter than me. I was in gyms with lads who'd been doing it for years. They were probably better than me. But the one thing they never done was worked harder than me. You know, and I believe I was born to do that. I was born to do it. That's why I become obsessive about it. I become compulsory. I become addicted to it. And I achieved what I achieved.
Yeah. So, how can people get in contact with you then, Paul? Because this is going on YouTube, so if anyone wants to message you.
Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, Paul Venis 22.
Yeah.
But mainly Facebook, you know, Messenger.
Paul Venis,
actor.
Yeah, you're gonna be on Twitter again tonight.
Right.
No, that's magnificent, that's mate. So, yeah, thanks for your time, mate.
Okay, mate. Thanks.